She assists grassroots organizations, intermediaries, educational institutions, and foundations in achieving their community, organizational, and programmatic goals. Her firm believes in a society that supports equality, equity, and fairness for all. She's a proud native of the Bay Area, with roots in San Francisco's Mission District, and she was part of that video. And when I grow up, I want to look just as handsome and as awesome as Jess Montesinos.
Thank you, Michelle. That was very sweet. Appreciate that. So on behalf of our Family Coalition's Board of Directors, I welcome you to our 9th annual Night Out event. I thank all of you for taking the time and the resources to be here tonight, to be with us, and to celebrate. We'd like to take the time right now to thank our champion level sponsor, Pacific Family Center, for the support, and also to recognize our change makers, the Brio Financial Group, the Ettinger Foundation, and Pure Storage. Thank you. I encourage you all as well to take a look at the program that you have in front of you, to see all of the teacher, activists, neighbor, and friend-level sponsors who also provided financial support to make this event happen tonight. Thank you. Can you give yourselves a round of applause? We're gathered here tonight to celebrate the mission, the vision, and the work of our Family Coalition, which is really about to secure equity and social justice for all LGBT families. A world in which all LGBT families have equitable access to resources and opportunities to fully participate in our society and to really lead thriving lives. I often get asked this question, well, what do we mean by equity? And I cite different examples based on the audience. And tonight I want to share with you an example that's often cited or shared by Angela Glover Blackwell, who is the founder and CEO of PolicyLink. And when she talks about, one of her examples, when she talks about equity, she talks about curb cuts. Right? You're probably saying, what's a curb cut? Some of you know, great, right? On our sidewalks, in every street corner in this country, we have curb cuts. Right? And in the 1970s, there were a few advocates in Berkeley who advocated for curb cuts so that individuals in wheelchairs could have full mobility to get to and from places. Right? It seems now we just take that for granted. And in the 1990s, that became federal legislation. Right? And this was a big win for this segment of the disabled population, and it allowed them equitable mobility to and from important places: work, school, health services, get to the grocery store. And what's really important about this example is that it benefits society at large, right? This isn't zero sum, right? Everybody benefits from this. That's what equity is about. Parents with strollers, workers who have carts and things that they have to move around that are really heavy, runners, people who want to exercise, youth skateboarders, right? We just take that for granted now that we have these curb cuts, right? And in the 1970s, you had a few people who took the risk in the middle of the night to lay out some cement on the corner to create a ramp. And that set the stage for this change. And I'm sharing this example with you to say that when OFC is working to advance equity for the most vulnerable families across the LGBT family spectrum, it benefits all of us. It benefits all LGBT families, and it benefits our whole country at large. In terms of family formation and protections, we have accomplished a lot, right? Marriage equality, Equal Protections for All Families Act, and the Modern Family Act, to name a few. And with respect to creating inclusive schools, places where kids can feel comfortable, and not feel bullied. Within the California public school system, we now have an inclusive curriculum representing LGBT families. And we have many other advancements and political wins that we can really be proud of. And that's because of all of you who've helped to make that happen. And at the same time, we have a ways to go to remove barriers and improve conditions for all of our families, all LGBT families. Given the current state of the political climate, it's even more important that we advance equity for those being most targeted in our community. Low-income LGBT families, LGBT families of color, LGBT immigrant families and mixed legal status families, homeless LGBT youth aging out of the foster system, transgendered parents in the workplace, and others in our community who are facing even greater challenges with the current administration. When all LGBT families across the spectrum are better off educationally